5 minutes and tell them to join it as soon as possible. Okay, so it's 11:05. We'll start recorded, and so will be the following sessions of the track. I'm your facilitator Abhishek Mishra, and I'm the admin of the group. And if you have any doubt, you can ping me on the group. And the members, please start recording. Aditya and Rajat. So, welcome everyone. This is the first session for your Android study jams. We'll be using Kotlin for our Android study. If any one of you has any doubt regarding Android or anything, okay, yes, Pansal asked. We'll be doing Kotlin, not Java. The reason is because, and you'll come to know about why is it doing so in just few slides, and I'll explain that. And any other doubts if anyone has before starting the session, so that when we start, we can go through the doubts itself. Okay, that doesn't know, and I'll proceed. So we are starting right now. This is the first session, and to the Android study jams. And this track is to people who have very little coding experience, even if you don't have, if you don't know any. You teach programming first, right? Yes, I'll teach you the basics of Kotlin before writing the code in that. The track is for people who have little to no basics of Kotlin. And if you already have programming experience, you might consider the other track, but I'll suggest if you go with this one, it is a much better one. So prerequisites for the same literacy, like you must be aware what is a computer and stuff. Basic math skills, you must have a computer and a headphone or internet connection. And an Android device. Of the USB cable and an Android device later. So first of all, why are we here? We are here to study, to learn Android, learn it by the end of the course that we have. And how do you plan to achieve? This depends on you. Sorry for the pause, guys. And this pause was because we had to just refactor your goals. What are we and so these are all the things that if you would like to share any doubts, I had already taken this earlier, so this won't be necessary right now. What are our objectives? We'll learn building our first Android application, setting up Android Studio, basics of the Kotlin programming language, and resources to things rather than these things taught in the slide itself. So coming down to Android application development, there are four possible ways. Native one we have been following for a while now. Second one goes as Kotlin. Third is the cross-platform in the form of Flutter, and the fourth one is React Native. React Native is also cross-platform. It allows you to build your application for Android and iOS both using the same source code. So is Flutter. And the reason why we are shifting from Java to Kotlin. Before beginning with that, this is the schedule for today. We'll be starting with the development till 45, and I'll teach you the Kotlin introduction at 45 to 12:15. And how will we go about it? And the basic thing is the whole course is divided into pathways. It is a self-paced learning. You can do it by yourself. You can follow me right here itself. It's not a problem. And if you don't want to, if you want to learn it by yourself, like afterwards or etc., it won't be an issue. You can do that. There are no restrictions how you want to learn it. At the end of the day, you just have to learn it. That is the compulsion. You have to learn how I'll be doing that. So I'll start what this is what a basic course is for you. It is designed by Google, so you don't need to worry about relativity of the content. Will it be correct or will it not be? Since it is built by developers at Google, so it won't be a problem. The next thing we have is this is the units. The course is divided into units. The course is divided into units. So that is either first of all we have we have three pathways in it. First of all, introduction to the Kotlin language. Second is creating your first app, and third is developing your first application. And this was the for the first session, and we'll work on the fourth pathways and all after this session. Then in the next one, pathway is a set of instructions. I'll show you the real website also where it is. The link and everything will be provided to you after the session or even right now itself. It won't be a problem. Automatically saves your badges here. Now, one of you might be thinking like, why do we need these badges? Now, once you have completed all the pathways required for the basics one second. So sorry guys, I had a small internet discrepancy. I'm back. Uh, Sorry for that. Now you'll have your batches displayed on your developer's profile, and one might be thinking, why do we need these batches? Once you have completed the pathway for the Kotlin developer, like whatever the course is created for you, and for earning the certificate, you will be provided a certificate once you have completed all these, and you mail me the screenshot of your developer profile. So after you have submitted me the screenshot of your developer profile, you can have a look. If any one of you how to make a developer profile. Okay, that's a good question. I'll show you how to do that. You have to Google this just the keyword developer profile, and it will lead you to a link that's in beta stage, as I just told you. And I'll show you how to make a developer profile. Environment, you just can write the code here in the Kotlin playground, and it will be good to go. And how can you run that? You have a play button, as simple as that. You click on that and your code will run. It won't run you a code for an Android application. There are some limitations to it. I'll tell you later. You need an Android device to run the code. Now, basically, this is the tool that you require to build your Android application. This is what an Android Studio looks like. I'll show you the live example. I have it installed on my system itself. And there are some shortcomings in Android Studio. I'll introduce you to the layout, how it works, and etc. And this is an emulator. Now, some of you might be aware of virtualization and etc. And I'll keep it very simple in simple terms. If you have any complex doubt, you can ask me. And it is an Android device that is currently placed on the resources of your laptop, and it has no connection with a real Android device, but it is a device that is created, a virtual one, I'll say. And here you can run your applications, you can do everything that you do with your Android device. But the performance of this device, the emulator, depends on your system. The specs of your system, the RAM that you have, the CPU, the kind of CPU that you have, etc. And it is only limited by that factor. So for running an Android application, there are two ways. Either you can connect your device using USB, or you can connect an Android device using USB, or you can have an emulator made in your system. For those of you who don't have a very good laptop or a PC that you're working on, I'll suggest using the USB part because emulator requires a nice amount of resources. And how do we create that? I'll show you. It's quite simple and easy along the way. Now, I hope it's clear that we need an Android device to run an Android applications code. So this is basically what we all know. We have seen many good applications. I think the left example on the left one is similar to Quora that we have. And right one you can say Google Photos. They have not mentioned the name due to some restrictions, but this is what your application will look like. And I'll also tell how do we go about designing this. Once you have learned the layout factor, like how are things placed after in a white screen, you have basically provided a white canvas to write your whole code. You just have to refactor that according to your use. So this is what an UI is. Just in case you hear this term later on, this is what an user interface stands for. And what exactly is a layout? Now, some of you might be coming from development fields like web development, etc., etc. So I'll tell you the very basics. First of all, we have each individual element. We have this layout. You can see here it is highlighted in the green color, neon green, right? It basically signifies the whole screen. It's signifying where will be everything placed and etc. And the next thing will be goes as views. Now this might sound alienated to some people, but views are basically what kind of material do you want to be placed there? A button or image or a text, anything like that. There are a whole different types of views, and these are increasing day by day as more developers are working and creating new views for us. And what will the next thing? Like these are the three basic views like we'll need, like very basic. It is present in each application that we use: a text, an image, and a button. I think it is quite clear from its here itself. Now that I have introduced you the basics, and if you any one of you has any doubt till right this point, they can ask by unmuting or simply writing in the chat box. Okay, so since no one has asked any questions, we'll be proceeding. Now, this is the first unit that we'll be working on, and it is very basic introduction to Kotlin, then creating a first app, then having a basic layout. And and first of all of you can do one thing right now. You can head up to the link. You can just head up to the link shown in the slide here itself, and one of my team members will just write it in the chat box. And you can create a developer profile and earn this badge right now. It is the badge that signifies that you are taking part in the code jams, that is study jams that is conducted by Google. So we'll wait a minute for everyone to just collect this so that you don't forget it later on. So it's 20 and I'll resume on 21. I'm waiting a minute for you guys to just collect this badge. Okay, so I think many of you might have collected that itself. It's good. Then going on to the next part, these are the basics, and we'll just have a very quite explanatory slides here. Like you just will start the course. It is a self-paced course by Google, and the role of me as a facilitator is to help you out with the course so that you don't face any problems. Do we have to register? Just a second, I couldn't read that one. Just a second, I'll have a check. Do we need to register the same account we provided in this session? No, not necessary. Just keep a track of which account you're using so that you have all in sync, the badges and all. And as of right now, if any one of you has any other doubt, like please you can ask. Or we'll show you the how to go along with the pathways and etc. Okay, so we don't have any doubts right now. So I'll be sharing the screen now and I'll be showing you how do we use all the resources that I just talked about. And yes, my screen is visible. So basically this is a page that is written on by Google on kotlinlang.org. And this tells you every single benefit. Why do we have Kotlin? There is a separate section for that. I'll also open that just a second. And this is multi-platform mobile, like you can share code between multiple platforms for Android itself and server side. And this might be a new term for you, but for running a Java code, we need a Java virtual machine installed in our device or a laptop, whatever we have. And this is basically a next step in that case. And web front end, it can be used to design web front end also for those of you who are web developers. Now this is the playground. Like here, there is a simple. I think the text size is enough to be viewed, right? Or do I need to zoom it? If anyone of you can please write in the chat box, do I need to zoom it or not?
It is clear.
Oh, okay, it's fine. Oh, Rahul said, okay, I'll join. I'll zoom, not a problem. I think it is clear right now. So we have this function, and why do we have this main function? I'll tell you. Now, according to Google form that you filled, we are expecting that 20% people have prior programming language of Kotlin. So we basically need a main function to run our code, and this is a simple print statement. And when you'll read the basic syntax, you'll find that there is a small difference between print and a println. I'll show you right itself. Print will basically print the next with the same characters in all a single line. I'm sorry. Like if I write it. First of all, I'll run this one, not to create any havoc like what's going on. It basically gives you the output of hello world. And if I go once again to print, and I'll simply print ABC. You don't need any semicolons here after each statement. Actually, that's the best thing about Kotlin, I'll say. As a developer, we might forget to write the semicolon if you're writing a big code. Now here you can see the word ABC that I wrote in the next line is coming presumably after the word the character D. There is a reason to that because I have used print. If I go for println, that will print it in the next line. These are the basics that we have in Java, and Kotlin basically follows the same step. Okay, okay, we are using the same line. So that's why it is giving a problem, not a problem. And why do we, this is the simplest version. This is an open canvas for you. If you want to see examples, you have more examples here. And what is an object oriented OOPS? Every one of us might have studied OOPS. Those who are not coming from this development sector or coding language background, OOPS is basically creating a group of data and you're using a class, I'll say, and you're using it inside of your code. Here is a class, it is different to this, and you're using it inside of your main. And it will basically print your name in here, like whatever you enter. For example, I gave the name as Kotlin, so it will enter Kotlin for me. The third thing that we have in Kotlin basics is a loop. The syntax is pretty much similar to every single language for the starting point for the variable name. The starting point is 0 and the limit till 10. And we launch is basically to create this. You don't necessarily need launch and delay. Delay is like telling it in seconds, like you have to wait for a few seconds to doing that. Now these are the features that we have. The Kotlin was just released the stable update, and these are all the blocks that you can read. These are written by JetBrains. Now JetBrains provides us with IDEs to write code for Kotlin. That is why they are providing us with blocks. If you want to read, it's totally depends on you. And this is basically the modern use, how we use a Kotlin, like singleton. What is singleton? These are data structures, basics of data structures. You don't need to read these in basics. I'll just telling you the way what it basically looks like. And we have someone from the JetBrains team is a very good developer, and he'll be telling us. And basically, this is the what do we say that this is the benefit of using Kotlin. You can use the same logic for even writing the code in iOS. And for iOS, there is a bit different thing how we build the application. The policies are very strict for and iOS devices. Basically, this is a blog page, and you can see who all are using Kotlin right now. Gradle. You don't know about this one, I'll tell you. It is required to build an Android Studio project for your device. Spring, Coursera is using Kotlin, even Evernote is using Kotlin. Now, I'll tell you a very good factor. All of these, like most of the companies that you will see, I'll just switch on to the next slide. This is get started. They will basically tell you to install. Okay, I'll share you the next tab. Now this is the page. This is developers.android.com. For Android developers, it is a holy grail. I'll tell you the reason why. It tells you every single thing that you need to know about developing an Android application, coming from the platform to the studio and the Google Play, how to publish app, and all those are the next steps. And after Kotlin, you have things as Jetpacks. Jetpack, I'll tell you in a minute, and documentation and the news. Like if you want to stay updated what's happening in the community, you can check the news section. So basically, these are the basic benefits of using Kotlin. It is concise language. Like I'll simply speak for those of you who know Java. It is this functionality of Java and the syntax of Python. Very simple thing. I'll just one statement that I know. I've been writing the code in Kotlin for a while now, and I'm pretty sure about it. And why is it safer? This line right here explains everything that you need to know. For those of you who have worked on Java, Java has your voice is a bit low. Okay, just a second. I'll just keep my mic a bit closer. Is it right now? Is it okay right now? Okay, I received a yes. So we'll presume. Now this line right here is the reason that made me switch to Kotlin from Java. We have null pointer exceptions in the case of Android development. If we go with Java, we don't face it here. It does not provide us null pointer exception. And that what is the like the benefit of using that? It allows your it is 20% less applicable that your app will crash. Now for those who don't know what an exception is, I'm so sorry. Exception is basically you have not told the code that this thing might come up and it will lead your application to crash. For those who of us who have Java learned Java language, we have written the codes where we are simply, I'll talk very simple. You have a stack, you don't have any single element inside it, and you want to remove an element. That will give you a null pointer empty stack exception. So in order to handle those exceptions, Kotlin allows you, they don't have a null pointer exception, and that is the basic why we use Kotlin, and it basically allows your application to crash less. And it is interoperable. That what is the meaning of it? You can use Java and Kotlin in the same code. I'll show you. I have written this code for you. And it is streamlined asynchronous programming. These are new terms for those of you who might not know it. It is nothing like it makes the work easy for network and database calls, etc. And here is the thing that I was talking about. You have to just click on, like, if you are learning it from the scratch that you don't know Java, etc., you can choose this link. If you know Java, it is the second one for you. And if you are anyone of you knows Kotlin already and want to enhance your knowledge, you can go for the advanced. And if you want to teach your applications to your friend or your teams, you can go for the fourth one. Now these are the courses. I'll show you what a course. These are self-paced courses, and these are not paid for you. These are free for every single one in the world. And the basic benefit is Kotlin is backed up by Google, and the courses are made by people at Google itself. The developer advocates and all. So you can be assured of the fact that it will be quite precise to the knowledge. And these are data flows, and these are the things that we'll need. I'll tell you why, how do we need this Android Studio and all. So it was a prerequisite for the session. How many of you have already downloaded and installed Android Studio? Installed. Okay. Mohit Jain says installed. Okay, good. Then you might be able to understand this snippet a bit. So this is the basic syntax of an application. How does it look like? And this is what I'll show you. I'll build an application for you. And you just need to know that if you have been working on Java, it will be quite simple for you to understand. Just for a second, ignore this fab.setOnClick listener line. Just ignore these two lines. I'll tell you very basically. Every application must have a main activity. An activity will I'll introduce as soon as switch into Android Studio. And you have this in base class. And okay, this will get confusing. Just a second. I'll just show you in the application itself. So here are some very good number of companies that are using Kotlin right now. Now this does not mean they're whole basically made on Kotlin. Kotlin just was came 2 or 3 years ago. It is a new language. So before that they were made in Java, and basically they are hiring developers to switch from Java to Kotlin. Slack you have, Lyft you have, Evernote you have, and even Pinterest. Every single one of them was written in Java initially, but right now they are switching, including Airbnb. And right now, some of you might think like, if everything is so easy in Kotlin, why don't we just write the whole code in Kotlin? When you go for real-time applications, you'll notice that we need to use a whole lot of stuff more than images, buttons, etc. We need APIs, we need documentation, databases, etc. So there is a bit shortcoming in that one. Kotlin does not have a good support for that one. Google is working on that. They are creating their language to be better. And real case scenario from India will be Zomato. Zomato has basically converted 60% of their code from Java to Kotlin. The reason why they're working or have not been able to complete the 40% is because some of the things Java has a much better support. Java has been in the industry for a very long while. And what do I mean by support is if you encounter any error, you Google it up, it is 100% sure you'll find it on Stack Overflow. That is what I mean by support. And if you have any problem, you can refer to YouTube, etc. That is the way how developers solve problems, right? That is the way how we resolve our errors, etc. And another good feature, it is free and open for all. Now, what do I mean by open for all? It is an open source that uses Apache 2.0 license. You can check them on GitHub also. Like the code is whole public. If you want to like go in the depth and want to change something, you can go there. And here are they have live events, they have certificates. Now some of you might have been thinking like, what do I do after getting the knowledge of Kotlin? You can earn your developer certificate. Now this is a test that is paid. I'll tell you the exact amount. It is for 6,500 rupees. And if you pass that test, and it is for both Java and Kotlin, if you pass this test, you will be provided a certificate from Google itself certifying that you are an Android developer that meets with the quality standards of being an Android developer. Code Labs is a virtual environment. I'll show you how to work on that, the medium blocks and basic courses and etc. etc. Okay, so Playground. So we'll switch on to Playground right now. So my basic screen is visible, right? Now in this course, what you'll learn is, I won't be teaching you the course, I'm just telling you the end product. It is a simple birthday card. You have the name on the left side top corner by the name of Happy Birthday Sam. It is a text, and this is what an emulator looks like. And this is an image in between and another text. And how do we do this? I'll just show you. I'll just show you the basics how we go. First of all, I'll show you the playground. What do we have in that? So yeah, playground is here. Here you have the play button. You just have to write your code, and it is simple, a hello world. And if you want to like just copy the code from somewhere else, or you want to have a look at how do we exactly use the code in industry, you can go to the example section. Just click on this button and it will run the code for you, and here you have the code. And I'll just show you just a second. There is written in very slow, small, I think. Okay. Here is a small thing written as the name of target platform JVM and the version of the Kotlin that is it running on. It is running on 1.4.20, and this is a virtual machine that is created for you for just running the code that you will be writing. And let's switch on to the course right now that we were talking about. Now, every single of your resource is on developers.google.com.android.com. Sorry. These are the units that you will be having. And just a second, it will display the batches that I was talking about. These are the batches that you will be earning through the course. And for those of you who are talking about developer profile, I'll just show you. Just a second, I'll open it in another tab. Okay, so coming back to this, I'll just show, open the screen share and just show you. Just a minute, I'll finish with this. So unit one is like basic, learning the basics of Kotlin, how it works, etc. And the second one is the layouts, how you want to design your application, simply written. Now, what is material design? I'll tell you about this in a second. Material designs are a set of guidelines or appearance for a layout, color combination, etc. All those factors that we have. It basically enables you. These are the practices that enables you to write a cleaner UI. Like every one of us has used very good applications. Like I'll use the most common one. YouTube you have. If YouTube had a very bad UI, would you have been using that? I don't think so. Since YouTube has a good UI, that is the reason why we are using that. And we can even check it out on Twitter and YouTube. You have the channels and the API references. This is not needed for you. And okay, so we'll go for the explore option. Since we are here and you have these units right here, it will just load. Now for me, these are progress bar. These are approximately completed. And the reason is that I have pre-checked them so that you don't have any problem while going for that. I'll step right here. You have the basics one. They are the first application one. These are the basics to Kotlin. Creating a first Android app. This is a basic layout. You just have to place your text. The birthday application that I showed to you. This is a dice roller, and a dice roller is like simple. You have numbers from 1 to 6. You will be generating a random number and setting an image according to that. It won't be any problem. So any one of you, like you just have to head up to the explore section, and this is something like you can do by yourself. But if you have any problem, we can do it together itself if it's required. It won't be a problem. So first of all, it will tell you about Android basics in Kotlin. This is a YouTube video, and it is basically by the team at Google itself. And you can either watch the videos or you can even skip them. It's totally optional all of you. It depends on you if you want to watch it or skip it. And here are the code labs. Just a second, you'll go for this option of taking the code lab. Okay, I think it's loading. Yep, it's right here. I'm on the last step because I pre-completed this one. So this is the code labs that was curated on 8th, and here you can see it was written by Google Developer Training Team, and it is assured that it's quite good for us to learn. You can read every single of the documentation. It's quite precise. It's not like a paragraph or a story reading, something like that. In this, you'll know about your whatever you are learning in this fragment. And for prerequisites of learning this course, for right now, you just need a web browser to open this thing. You can also go by your Android device or mobile phone to open this. It won't be a problem. And what we'll be building, it is simple. You will be building a Kotlin language program that will be basically displaying a message when you run it. What do you need? It's quite simple. You need a Chrome, any web browser, or an internet access. And this is how you run your first program in Kotlin. Here you have this Kotlin playground, and here you write the code. It will basically telling you, like I just showed you what the playground looks like. And here they have given you the code, and you just have, they're telling you how to use the playground for the first time. You just have to press the green triangle and it will run the code for you. Other thing is how to making changes in this code. You just have to change the text and it will work for you, like whatever you want to print, right? So basically everything in this for this Google Jam study jams, everything is here itself. You just have to read it like a quick go through and it will be done. And coming back to like if I just head over to the, I'll close this. I'll show you what the quiz looks like. I won't be marking any answers right now because it will be a shortcut for you. After you have done that, you just have to come to the bottom part where you take the quiz. Now, if you already know the basics, you don't need to read that all those above that you had. You just need to head over to the quiz and you just need to take the right answers. I won't. Okay, chalo, I'll show you that. I'll do the first one for you. Since I know this, I'm skipping this part. You will have a much relevancy when you have studied the basics and you are just doing it for the second time. It won't be okay, what it does. Since I know Kotlin, that is why I'm doing it pretty much fastly. Okay, okay. And these are basic. We have the programming languages. It is a string, it is a string, and it is an integer. That is why this one is valid. Not every single one of this is. Now, once you head over to the submit answer section, it will basically check it out. And since you have scored, and one more thing, that is why I made a incorrect mistake. Here you can see if you have a question incorrect, you won't be awarded any full marks for that. That is why I scored 5 out of 6, not 6 out of 6. Every single one of this is correct. Just this one was incorrect. That is why it is partially correct. And here you are. And now since I'm using it for the second time, I've already collected my batch. It is not giving my option to collect a batch. If I had been using it for the first time, it would have told me like collect your batch here and then proceed. So I can redo it n number of times, or I can just basically go to the next one. And if you head over to the next one, okay, so we are at the next one. Just a second, I'll log into my Google developers profile and I'll show you what the badges look like. And reason is that we are using the developers profile is that to have the authenticity, like you have completed the course and we are issuing a valid certificate, not to like anyone just like that. Okay, so I've logged in. Now coming back to this. Now this is the second one. Now introduction to Android Studio. Again, this is a video that is on YouTube. You can view it at your own pace if you want to, and if you know the basics, you don't need to view it itself. Now some of the code labs are optional. Here you can see the keyword written optional. It basically like it is telling you can either use it or you cannot use it. It depends on you. Again, you have to go for the quiz. Now coming down to Android Studio. For those of you who have installed it, this is okay. I'll just switch to the screen share. Just a second, guys. I'll share my whole desktop. Just a second. Okay, so yeah, my screen is visible, right? Okay, yep. So basically, this is what Android Studio looks like. This is the latest version that we have in the market right now, 4.1.1. Since you will be using it for the first time, you won't have these things on the left. It basically tells you recent projects so that it makes your life a bit easier. You don't have to browse it every time. So I'll remove everything. This is the one I created for this session. And since I have added plugins, now for the first time, those you'll be using, you just need to head over to the configure section. I repeat, do not create an empty project. It won't do you any good as such. It will create some mess from you if you want to head in inside and change something. Just head on to the configure section. It will load just a second. Now, a bit warning for this. Android Studio is a high consumption software, so make sure you're not using, if you have a low spec PC, I repeat, make sure you're not using it along with like your number of applications, like you have 10 tabs of Chrome and all running. You'll experience this once you keep using it. Now, as soon as you click on the configure and you head over to the SDK, this is the development kit that is required by us to write the code for Android. You need to have the base for Android, right, to write application code for that. Now, a simple hack, we do not remember, developers do not remember Android by their names or even version number. We remember by their API levels. And going down to the oldest one, I think we have available right now. Okay, 7 is the oldest one available right now. Why don't we prefer using the older ones? Because if you use an SDK of 2.1, you cannot write the code for 11.0. Like it is quite obvious. Every SDK, every Android version has its own revisions. That is why. So you just have to select anyone. Now, since it is installed, I'll select something that is not installed. I'll click on this download small icon that we have right here, and it will show me a pop-up to download. That's okay. It's partially installed. Okay. So basically, you do not need to install every single one of them. You can just install single one, and it will do the work for you. But still, in case if you want to use multiple SDKs, for a given project at a given time, you can only use one SDK. You cannot use three or two or something like that. You have to be stay fixed with one SDK, and you just have to click on this. Since I have removed this, okay, it is selected. And this basically requires this basically tells you where will I store the SDK. And since I'm using a Linux, that is why it is telling me it will be saved in home. It might be different for your Windows device. Now these are the extra tools that we have. You don't need anything as such. Just allow the default one selected to be selected. And important thing, you need this option of Android emulator to be selected. The reason is you don't. Is my screen visible or do I need to increase the text size?
It's visible.
Okay, thank you. So basically, you need to select this emulator. What will be the use? I'll tell you a bit later. And these are the licenses and all. Since you're not publishing your application to Play Store right now, you don't need these. And these are the sites that it uses. Now I'll tell you how do these updating works. You basically tell yours, for example, you have created a software by the name of ABC, and someone is using it. So to check for update, you have to tell the software, right? Where do you need to check the update from? A link or anything, a repository. I'll speak in simpler words. So you need to tell it, okay, you have to check it there. And if you have an update, please let the user know. That is why it is telling me update available. And where is it checking from? These are all the repositories of Google, like Android repositories and all the XML. And okay, yeah, that's it for the SDK part. Now coming that to that. Now since you are installing SDK, it will automatically do the work of path variables for you. Now this is a thing in Windows, like every one of you might be aware of this. If you install a new software and you do not add it to path, and that is the basic way, and your system is not aware of that software right now. For example, if you have installed VLC and you have not added to path, which is not default, you have to add it customly. So if you write VLC in your terminal, it won't open VLC for you. It's quite obvious your system is not aware what is VLC. That is why we need path variable. It sets up it automatically for you. And these are the basic thing. If you want to change the theme and all, you have this appearance section and the text, etc. Now themes and all is customization. It depends on you. How do you want to go about it? And okay, so yeah, I'll cancel this one and I'll head up to the next configure part. So still I'm not creating any new project. You can create a new project after setting up the SDK. If you create it, otherwise it will be a bit lengthy process. We have to navigate to settings once again. And these are the basic settings. So before going on to the virtual device, I'll tell you what plugins are. So Android Studio is basically created to support Java and other things as well. Now here you can see I also record in Flutter, so I have these plugins installed for me. And this is a markdown language. HTML, people might know this, and these are the basically themes, etc. Whatever I have. So you have a whole lot of plugins on the marketplace. You can just go on for anyone that you need and just select it and install. I'll show you a simple one. We'll go with the theme one. Here you have Material Theme UI, and it is telling me it is pre-installed in your application, and what this is the home page, blah blah blah, that you need to read, and you just need to go for that. And you have a lot of plugins. It totally depends on what you need to use the Android Studio for example, you need a plugin for Kotlin. If you will create a basic application for Kotlin, you need to install the plugin for Kotlin. The size is minimum, like what is 132 MB for a plugin. And you have also this term, just a second, I skipped this one. Who made this plugin? It was made by JetBrains, that I just showed you the site of Kotlin Playground. And in the installed section, you will see the plugins that you have pre-installed, and it will also tell you like update, not necessarily required if you want to save some space. And okay, so these are the plugins for version control. Now, some of you might be aware of Git and GitHub, some of you might not be aware. But that's not a problem. You have version control systems. that are available in the market right now, and they basically allow you to write. GitHub basically allows you to write code along with your friends in the same application, and GitHub is the visual representation, and Git is how you actually do it. Okay, so after installing the plugin for Kotlin, the next step goes as you need to head over to configure. And one last step before I head on to the studio side. Just a second, it will load. Okay, so this is a virtual device. Now I told you what a virtual device is. It's an Android device. You have this resolution. You have this Android version. You have a target that is using Android 11.2. That's the latest in the market. You have a 86 architecture CPU and the size of disk. Now this will occupy space from your system itself, as I already told you. And there is a reason why I'll not run this because it usually consumes 50 or 60% of my CPU available right now. This is a simple operating system. You can copy it, you can erase it, you can cold boot is basically like it will load quicker, but it won't load it from the previous states and all. You can view the details and etc. Blah 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 blah. Not necessarily. And now how do you create it? This was created by me. And if you head over to the create new section, it is quite obvious. Like it's very simple. Since Android Studio made by Google, you have the pixels right here. But if you want, I'll show you that also. If you want to replicate your own mobile device, you can set the screen size for your device. You can set the resolutions that we have for your device. You can set the RAM, how much do you want. This RAM, obviously, once again, will be taken from your CPU, your computer's resources itself. And that is the reason why I've given it 2 GBs, like it's good. And these are all the sensors that you need. You want to have camera, you want to have back, front, facing, etc. You need to, if you want to have accelerometer, gyroscope, GPS, these are all the basic sensors that we have. Now it is a new device and I won't be creating it. Like Finish will create it obviously. Now what I did was I basically created an configuration for my device that I have, a Redmi Note 7 Pro. And basically it is the resolution, etc. I'll see if I can increase this value. Okay, not a problem. Now some of these have options for Play Store. What basically it enables is you can head over to the Play Store and download an application for your app, for your emulator if you want to use. Another one do not have the Play Store support. Now since it's coming from Google, you have device of every single size, like each one of the old Nexus and all 4.7 also. And when you go for like other devices like tablets and another small VGAs, pagers, 2.7-inch devices. These are all the categories of phone that we have. Now coming down to, you can also make application for your Android TV, you can make it for your Wear watches, you can make it for your tablet, and even the screens that we have in automobile industry, the navigators, the smart display in our devices. So what do we need to do? Basically, I'll go with Pixel 4 this time. I said, okay, let's choose this one and I go for the next part. Now this will refresh your system images. Now for system images, what it basically is, it is a list of the Android versions that we have pre-installed. Every one of you might have updated your device, right? Android updates. So that is what basically is. If I download this, I'll show it for a device that I already have the configurations. Okay, I'll go for the emulator Redmi. And now here you can see I've already downloaded the Android R API level 30 once again. Architecture is 86 bits and target is 11 API. And the reason why it is telling me to use recommended, we have 3 tabs here once again. And once you head over to 86 image, bit 86, it is giving you a recommend. Once just increase the size so that it's quite visible. Okay, so it is telling me try using the ones with Google APIs, and the reason it is much better supported as from the term. And you also have some other images, like if you want to use some old school images like Lollipop, Marshmallow, etc. This will provide you every single one. Now, what is the benefit of this? Now, since these are depreciated means they are not no longer using it in real world. But if you want, you can download this. You can make an Android emulator using this Android if you want to have a look and feel how was Android back then versus right now. You have every single Android level right here. You even have Cupcake. That was like way back when Android was started. So the option that you have to choose is recommended. Go for an Android download. You'll need to download it for the first time. Since I have it pre-installed, it won't be a problem for me. Just choose it, head it over. Just this is a simple naming the device kind of thing. Just name your device. You can change the resolutions from here if you want to. You can change the Android once again. And how do you want to your device to look on starting up? Do you want it landscape or portrait? And simple graphics, like it is better to let it be automatic. You don't need to change any default structures and all. And if I click on finish, just a second, it will create an Android virtual device for you. It is as simple as that. Here you can see I have another emulator ready. For the first time, it is 513 MBs. Like you can think of it as an operating system that has just been installed, no data inside it. Once I boot this, it will start consuming much more space. I won't be booting it right now and I'll just delete it. The reason is it will create a bit delay in the session that we are having right now. Android Studio takes up high CPU percentage. That is why I'm like not looking forward to use the emulator right now. Now here we go. Now you have set up your Android virtual device, and rather for those of you who don't have a very good laptop or a PC right now, the you can go along with plugging in your Android device, and the tutorial is quite simple. You just have to turn on developers option, and it will allow you to run your code in your physical device itself. Now, when you're using Android Studio, by default you won't see the second option. Mind you, it is for just for Flutter itself, and it gives you basic options: creating a new one, opening a previous created one, version control. For example, you want to pick up the code right from GitHub itself. You don't want to write it. You just want to change something inside it and run it. Profile or debug APK. Now you might, some of you might know it, but .apk is the extension for executable files for Android. You install every single application in .apk. Now you can profile or debug it, like you can check how much am I using in images, how much MBs am I consuming, etc. And you can also import projects using Gradle and no, it won't be a problem. So you'll head over to the create a new project section. Now, why has Google given us this option to like choose from the templates that we have? Now, these templates were made by people at Google using keeping material UI in mind. So these are pre-designed templates with a very good UI that you can just use for your application. And I'll tell you the basic examples. First one is you don't want anything to be visible. You will have an empty activity created. Basic one, giving down the example for this one, like you have a small button on the right side corner, it's quite visible. Bottom one is Instagram. Empty is you don't want anything, you just want a back button and this top bar that we have. And for the next one, we have a full screen. The names are quite explainable. And full screen basically means you won't have the three buttons at the bottom in your application. Ad mobs is the one that you see ads. A lot of us play games, right? You have this while you're going from level 1 to 2, you have a small ads that pop ups. This is the one that runs the ad for you. Maps is quite explainable. It creates a map for your whole screen. Login is ID password fields are created. You can just change the functionality as you want. These are the flows that you want to create. These are altering the flow of your application. It won't be a problem. Navigation drawer, I'll tell you an example. I don't remember any example that uses a navigation drawer right now. Might be Zomato or something like that, but I don't remember it. Settings is basically radio buttons and check boxes that are pre-created for you. Scrolling is simple scrolling like we have in WhatsApp. You want to be that endless scroll for your contacts, right? And fragment plus for tabs. This is exactly the UI that WhatsApp uses. It is not something as complex. It is very simple. Fragments, and what is the difference between fragment? We have two terms, right? I'll introduce you to this. This is an activity, and here we have the term fragment. Activity is the whole screen, fragment is a part. As simple as that. Here you can see you have three tabs, and there is a white space below them. That is what a fragment is. You don't need to go into depth right now for Android. You can also run the code of native C++ in this. That does not mean that you create your whole application in C++. So we'll go with a basic one. And what it basically asks you is the name, the package. Package has to be unique for application. Saving location and the language. Now here you can choose for Java or Kotlin as well. It will use the same configurations. Now this is the condition that is most important while creating a project. You want your application to run on which Android level minimum. Like I've created a project that will run on 5.0 minimum. And if I use it on a Android device of 4.3, the application won't open. And the lower you go, the higher percentage of compatibility that you have. Now, the reason why do we need to set this API level here is some methods, some designs, or anything you can say functionalities that we use in our Android application depends on API level a lot. Like you don't have that support in Jelly Bean, but you have it in Lollipop. So that is the reason why you need to set that. And the higher you go, the less compatibility that you have. It tells you the real-time number, like 1%, less than 1% of the total Android devices in the world are using 11.0 right now. That is why it is better to stick to Marshmallow. It won't be a problem, I think. Yeah, 84.5 is like the correct one. And finishing one will create a new project for you. And I'll have done this already, so I'll just show you this. Now, meanwhile, Android Studio is loading. If anyone of you has any doubt regarding the studio, you can ask here itself. The certificate will, after showing our track badge is free or paid. You will receive the certificate once you have mailed me or texted me the screenshot of your Google Developers profile that will have all those badges, and it is for free. You'll be given the certificate for free. It won't be any charges. Meanwhile, it is loading. It will take some seconds to load, guys. This is Android Studio. It usually takes some time to load. And we'll head over for the developer's profile and I'll just show you. It takes a bit more time to load since it is in beta stage right now. They're still working on this. Okay, it was should have loaded my profile till now. Just a second. Okay, now this is a private profile. It is visible to you. I have 11 batches on. These are the favorite batches that I can set. I can go down and set any batches here. Now, after you have completed all the pathways, what you need to do is you need to just head over to the section and give me a screenshot, or you can ping it on the upward itself. Just give me a screenshot all the batches that you have in this courses. I have this dice roller one, first app, then scrollable list and all will be taught in the next one. I'll teach you then in the next section that session that we will have. It will be probably on weekend itself, Sunday. I cannot guarantee will it be on the next Sunday or the after one. But please stay in that WhatsApp group to receive further updates, and you'll also receive updates on email. So these are the batches that you need to send me a screenshot of. Yes, I have received, I have done these, and I'll just do a small check and I'll send you your certificate on your mail itself. The reason we are doing this because a number of people in the world will be going on with this course, and you want to have a distinction, right? So basically, this is what it will load. This is a simple application. Now, don't get confused. For just telling you, we can use both. I've written a code that is both in Java and Kotlin in the same application. This is basically the code for your application, how you write the code. This is what an Android Studio looks like. And you, there is a status bar on the top left. Oh, sorry, bottom left corner that tells you, okay, the success. Okay, it is successful. Okay, now this is the not the first time that I'm running an application, creating a new one. That is why it didn't take me much that time. But if you're creating it for the first time, this is a pre-created one. That is why it did not take me much time. So heading over to the Kotlin section. Okay, before going into the code, I'll tell you what a basic is. This is the top bar. It tells you the name and which activity or which page you are inside. And you can change the appearance. These are self-explanatory toolbars. Like you have all those settings from here itself that you did on the outside by configure button. And these are all self-explanatory. I think it won't be a problem. Yeah, one thing that we need to keep in mind is you might face this error coming forward. For example, you have declared a variable a as 5, but later on you have changed it to 10, and when you are using it, it's telling you 5 itself. Because the reason is, since Android Studio is a heavy software, what it does it creates caches for you. Like some of you might be aware of the term cache, what a cache memory is. Cache memory basically provides you a faster processing, and it previously saves your states like what you were doing earlier. So that is when this comes in handy. You can either restart your studio, you can just delete all the caches that we have, and what it will do is it will rebuild your project for you. It will recreate the same screen for you and edit a simple copy paste all those commands that we have. and views and all. I think these are self-explanatory. If you have problem in any one of them, so kindly let me know. You can ask the doubts on the group itself or in DM. So I'll tell you the main important one that we have. They have a build, and this is basically when you build an application, APK, and you share it to people like this is what I have built it, and generate signed APKs. Now I tell you what is the significance of signing an APK. You made an application and you want to share it to the world, but there are some security constraints also, right? Like if you are using users' data, you need to provide your details. Like I am the developer, this is my name, this is my residential address, and you have to give everything to Google because if you do something that's not abiding to their terms, they will come after you, like legal action and all and all. That won't be a case issue in your case. Running is all simple. Everything on the run and this build is on the right side itself. It is a very short one. And these are the important things. We have tools in AVD Manager, the virtual device created that we did from configure. We have the SDK Manager, and we have this Firebase. Firebase is the cloud service backed by Google. It is made by Google, so it is much easy for you. And we have here something by the name of Kotlin. And if you head over to the Kotlin session, you have a REPL. I'll tell you what an REPL is. It basically provides you this is your playground, another playground that you can say. If I go for this is the basic syntax, some of you might not be aware of that. It won't be a problem. And just a second, I'll declare this variable as 5 plus 10, and in the next 9 I'll just go for that printing of variable, and I just have to press control enter. It should run it for me. Second, what was the error in this? I think it was doing its indexing. It will give an error, not problem. Manifest files. I'll introduce you to the project structure just in a minute. It won't be a problem as such. What is manifest files and etc. Okay, so it is giving some indexing error. Okay, it's indexing right now. Sorry. So we'll resume this just in a minute. Let it complete the indexing. Now this is what I'll comment this code. This might seem alienated right now. The shortcuts that we have are similar to that in VS Code. And there is a reason why we use Android Studio because no matter which IDE do you use, you have to use Android Studio for creating virtual device and all. Google has not provided support for Visual Studio Code or even Visual Studio as right now. So basically, when you have created an application, this is the configuration that we have. By default, it will be created for you. Like basically, this tells your app, this IDE Android Studio, what do you need to run and how do you need to run. By default, it's created. You don't need to mess up with this. If you don't configure the SDK before creating a project, it will not work for you. This is the device that we have. This is the emulator that I have. And if I plug in my Android device, it will show right here, available devices. You just have to select the device, and if you click on play, it will launch that emulator and run the code that you have written. This is the play, and these two buttons are done when you are running the code in your emulator and you want to change. Like you have made some changes here and you want it to be reflected in the emulator. That is when we use this. Debugger is not used proficiently, and profiling, these are something new terms you won't get like right now. Structure is the basic details of your project, like what Gradle and Android will you be using. Gradle is basically the thing that enables us to build the application. You cannot build an application without this. It won't work. And Gradle plugins, these are default configured. You don't need to worry about it. This is syncing with your Gradle, and when you run, it is not necessary for you to do this. When you run it, it will automatically sync for it. And okay, you have this virtual device launcher and this project structure. So coming down to the very basics one, and I'll try to keep it a bit more interactive. This is your application that was created. These are your views part that you have. If any one of you has any doubts, they can ask. Like I'll be stopping for a minute right now. If you have any doubt regarding Studio or what is the use of Maven? Maven allows you to fetch repositories. Like I'll show you since you have asked that as well. I'll show you. For every one of you, it might seem alienated right now. I'll introduce you. Here you have this section of repositories, right, Rahul? Here you can write Maven repository, Maven as in like call the constructor. And if you want to use any repository or any plugin that was made on Maven, then you can use it in your project. And any other doubt, guys? Like, okay, so we don't have any other doubt, I think so. So yeah, I'll continue explaining the structure for the basic application that we have. It won't take much time right now. It will take maximum 10 to 15 minutes. This is a manifest file, and what it basically is, it is the defining file for your application. It might seem alienated right now, and every single of the important files are written in XML. This is a markup language, and you have this encoding of UTF-8. You can use other encodings also, since you want your application to be secure, and that is why we use encoding. So basically, this is your application name, this is your application icons, etc. By default, these are the methods and these are the screens that I have in my application. Now, very basically, I'll tell you, we have two kinds of activities written here, this one and the above one. Now, what is the significance of these lines inside this activity written here is basically it tells my application that whenever I launch you in a device, I want this one to open first. If I cut paste this to inside of this, like just a second, I'll show you how do we do that. Just cutting paste this and inside this. Now what are the changes that I have made? Now first of all, I'm doing this for an experimental basis, and please do not try this at home. Like, we have this caution, because messing up with the manifest file, it will give you some very good errors that will like do not allow your application to run. So now what I have made the changes, I'm telling my application that whenever you load, I want you to open this, the class by the name of activity2. It will open activity2 itself. That is what manifest basically does. It is a directory that contains every single list of things that we have for your application, and you don't need to change anything right now. I'll just show you what is the significance of icon right here. I'll show you the png.xml won't be like, this is your application icon. If you create a new application, the icon looks like this, and this is and we can change it. It are like quite uh, easy to change, and I'll tell you how do we do that. Now under the Java section, we have three. Okay, okay. Now we have three subdirectories here. One is has no annotation written. Another is test, and a second is Android test. You don't need to like do anything in these. These are auto-generated. This is basically a track of what you are doing. Now here by default we have one. If you have created Java or Kotlin, I'll remove every single thing that I have extra. Manifest.xml. Okay. Now when these are the classes that you'll be using in an Android application, coming down to very simple things. And if you want to use Java, you can write it in Java. But since we are doing in Kotlin, so I just had to tell you that we can use both in a single application. It won't be a problem. That is what major companies are doing. So here is a code written in Kotlin. Here is a code written in Java. It won't create you any errors because they are similar. They can be used together. That is why Kotlin was designed. Uncomment this, and you don't need to like you don't need to delete also this. Let it be. It won't be any problem. These are the generated files. These three that will be generated when you run your project. Now, what is this is the resource directory. This is what we call it. This is a directory. This is a directory. So what is inside the resource directory is a drawable directory. Anything that can be drawn on a screen or any image is known as a drawable. Just a second. This is a .xml. Images can also be designed using XML, and this is what it basically leads to. It leads to you to a basic background for your application, and this is what your application. You don't need to go on to this right now. This is the last stages that we have. Layout. Minmap is also for the application logo part, and we have the two important things here as layout and values. For the layout, here is the blank canvas I was talking about. This is no longer blank because I have made the changes. This is the application that I made to show you. Now here are three views section. You can either view the whole design by itself. Like here you have the design part. You can either view the whole code by itself, and you can have a split one. Like whatever changes that I make here, it will automatically be reflected that side. As simple as that. It has already changed it for you. That is why we need a design and the code once and a split configuration. This is a blank canvas, and once you cover those tracks, you'll learn about layouts. And if you have any doubt, we'll cover it in the next one about the layouts that we have. This is basically elements. This is a text. This is a button, the basic UI that I was talking about, nothing more. Here we have a characteristic that you need to not as such remember, but I'll tell you the basic. Here you are just creating an UI. If you want to set a functionality, you need to set this ID so that you can check where my element is and what is the use of ID. I'll just show you. This very simply, if I talk, this is what an ID does. You create a button inside of your class and you tell it, okay, this button is related to the one I designed in the UI part. That is as simple as that. The reason why we have null pointer exception is this. If I just comment this, now my button is not aware of where is my button. Like it is not knowing the ID of the button. So that is why we have null pointer inside our applications. You need to give it right ID so that you can create functionalities and all. The functionality I'll explain in a minute. Now this is a blank canvas and you can design anything that you want. Now since you are beginners, I do not expect you guys to writing the code from the code window itself. Just a second. You just need to head over here and I'll close the attributes also for you. I'll increase the component section. This is the component section that we have. This is the design palette. And it is quite simple. Just drag and drop. I just drag a text inside that and here you can see a text is created, top left side corner. If I click on that, deleting it will simply delete it. The text is gone. It is as simple as that. As for the starting part, you can do this. It is not like when you're proficient, you don't want to do drag and drop every single time. Just pick it up, drag it there, and it will be created for you. As simple as that. And now you might be wondering, it has been created. How do I change the things? Just head over to the split section and just change. Your button is here. Once a second, I'll show you third button. Here you can see. As soon as I dragged and dropped it, it has created it for me. And it has also allocated an ID because it is aware that I need to basically provide some functionality. Okay. So I'm receiving doubts right now. So by developers, you have created your profile. You have to earn those batches and then send me. Batches ke baad only I can ensure that you have done your course. If you want to delete it, it's quite simple. Backspace and it will automatically delete it for you. So coming back to the design part, these are the basics then that you use. Image, button, and text. You will learn about all these below once you are progressing in the course. And when you're going for text, you have multiple kind of text. You have passwords that are not visible to you. You have emails, etc., etc. All those are set for you by the studio itself so that you don't face any problems. And you don't need containers and all right now. These are used in like a whole next level of applications. Basic is you head to the common tab and you have these three. You have to design your applications right now using this itself. And while going for the design, you have this very good feature that allows you to check the size of your the appearance of your application for multiple devices. Right now it is showing me 5.0 and if I head over for 6.3, I can see what will it look like on 6.3-inch device. You can see it is auto adaptive and you learn these practices along the way. It won't create a problem if I go for a 5.7 device also. It automatically adjusts. One second, I'll just zoom in. Yep. It automatically adjusts according to your need to your device because the code is written that way. Now, one more thing, like I'm telling you the basic that you'll learn in the course, like whatever I'm telling you, you will learn this in the course, but I'm telling you as a highlight right now. Everything inside of Android is done in terms of pixels. So for text, you use these curved pixels known as SP, and for simple width and height, you use these DPs. You learn the difference when you progress in your course. I was just telling that so that you are aware of that. And the parameters also are self-explanatory. Like you won't get it on the first time. It might be seeming very boring or alienated to you, but these are the basics that you need to know. Now, what is the significance of this color file? You can declare any color. If I just head over, yeah, black is already written. Every color has its own color code. So you can basically use hexagonal color code and write it here. And whenever you want to use that color code, just go to the element. Here you can see I've written text color as white. So what it is doing for me is it is picking the color from here. And if I create this white as black, 6 zeros, it is now you're saying I have changed the color code. Now what will it change? It will automatically create this text as black. So this is the benefit of not writing the color code for every element. Just write it in the file and just change it when you need to. And similarly for strings we have, if you want your application to have a simple set of string, this is a markup language, so you'll learn it along the way. It won't be any problem. If I go for string and I name it as name, simple name, and if I write it, let us say hi there. Okay, you don't need to use inverted commas here. And once again, I'll show you how do we use that. Now, when you these are the properties. I'm repeating once again. You might not be sure what these work like, but I'm just simply giving the name and it will automatically change. Same thing. If I head over to there, this string and I change it like, and I replace this there by hello. What it will do is it will automatically create it hi hello. You got it right. What is the use of this? Now the themes part is a little bit complicated. We use a color scheme for every single application that we have. You can use the theme created by Material UIs, and it is very much easy to use. If you want it to be dark colored theme, you can just set it like you have to go for dark, and it will create an application that is in dark UI, like dark mode for your application by default. You don't have to worry about it. You don't need to change the theme right now. The next directory is resources generated. This is also something you don't need to, like, you don't even need to view it. It won't be like understandable. Now here we have the most important part, the Gradle. It allows us, I'll close everything else, just a second. It allows us to run the code for our application. This is by default created file. I've not changed any single word of inside it. This will be automatically created for you. Dependencies are simple. What do you need to use? The Gradle version and the Kotlin version that we have. This is string interpolation. Those of you might not know about it, but it's quite obvious, not a problem. And now this is the important file that we have. Now, just for like disclaimer, you don't need to mess up with any single of these 6 files. It will create errors that will be like not hard to resolve, but it will be a problem. So this is the SDK version that you set. Build tool version is paired up along with the SDK. It is the same version itself. Now, right now I'm writing the code on Android 11 and I can run it on a device that has API 11, IPA level 21 to 30. I cannot run it on 20, I cannot run it on 31. Right now I'm telling you, since 31 is not in the market, it was an example. And you see many applications having updates, right? If I name that 1.2, when you install the application, it will tell me you have written one. This is the update for your application. And this right here is what we call as libraries. These are the libraries that we need in our projects. Now, some of you might be thinking, why do we exactly need libraries? We need Kotlin library to write the code in Kotlin. Similarly, what we can do is here is the handy part of using Android development. Just a second, I'll show you. I might have some code repositories from Google. Yep. So many of us might be knowing about GitHub. So how does it the libraries help us? Is like you just have to choose a simple library that you want in your application. Now this is something you'll learn after a while. And how exactly do we use it? Just a second. These are the graphs that we have. You don't need to create graph design and all. Just simply copy these 2 lines and just pasting it here and building your project once. If I change anything right here, just a second, I'll change something here. Now here you can see there is a blue tab on the above, sync now or ignore these changes. Now syncing will basically download that library for me and create it in my project so that I can use it. These are the basic things, and just a second, I'll go for ignore these changes. And if you have synced, it will reflect the changes. If not, it won't. As simple as that. Now removing every extra thing that we have. Just a second, I'll just refactor it. Strings, Kotlin is on. Okay. So these are the distributions where it has been downloaded and the rules for that. You don't need to go into that. Only the 2 things that we use are these to build our Gradle. There's a difference between one is for the whole application, one is just for the module that we are running. So coming back to our Kotlin class that we have written. By default, this was the structure that is created for you. Import statements are there, and so are the package name. Okay. So, like this is a button that I've created. I'll launch the emulator for you. I'll try that. So, yeah, if the system goes not responding, like I'll try if it doesn't go that way. Okay, so starting up the emulator for me. And what's the benefit in the latest version of Android Studio? It allows you to have your emulator here itself. Earlier, it used to pop out on a whole different screen. It would be like a new window in your app, desktop running. So here I've just created it, and meanwhile it is getting created, I'll just hide it a bit. So this is the like simply telling you this is a function using base class. This is the important part where you are telling I want it to look like this. The XML file that I have written. This is the XML file that here you can see on the top left corner. And I've declared a simple button. This code is something irrelevant to you right now. You have not studied about it. So simply what I have done is I've created two buttons in different screens, and when you click on that button, it leads you to the other screen. Simple. One is written in Kotlin, one is written in Java. Here you can see the difference. What is the difference? Why, if some of you might be knowing Java, that is where we can see what is the difference between the code. Now, it is not a problem using Java or Kotlin, but the reason I told you Kotlin is a new language, that is why Google is promoting it. And that's how we can go about it for like developing the code and etc. So meanwhile, when the emulator is loading, this is the last thing that we have for today, and I'll show you how it runs on the emulator. It will take few seconds to load. So if any one of you has any doubts regarding the course and etc. something like that, so they can ask. Okay, guys. So what were you saying about the test after the course? Once you have done completed a pathway, you need to take that quiz that we have. Are you talking about the quiz or that the test that we have for Google developers, the certified one? Okay, the test one. Okay, once you have learned Android to the certain level, we are developing real life applications, and you want yourself to have be certified from Google. You have to appear for the test, and the test is basically for 6,500 rupees INR. They will basically take your test and a small interview based on your skills, and then you'll be provided a certification if you pass that. And the benefits for that is among the like millions developer on Android that we have right now, you will be the few hundreds that will be certified by Google, that you know your skills and you're good in your field, since Android is made by Google itself. So, okay, any other question or should I resume? Okay, thanks. You're welcome. Okay, so I'll resume. This is my emulator. Before I run my application, I'll show you the home page, what it looks like. And it basically is an Android device that is running on my system resource. There will be a small lag. I'm sorry, my laptop is not up to the mark where I can run it proficiently. This is all your application that we have installed. The Goo. One second. Yep. All those by default, it is a clean OS right now. It does not have anything. This is the default icon that we have. Now, here you can see those two buttons that I was talking about are visible because it has automatically detected that our device has something as the application that we are coding right now. So it allows me to sync the changes. I'll just, do we need that? I don't think so. Just a second, I'll just sync the changes. Now this is where the Gradle comes in role. It basically builds your project, and it automatically changes it in your device. That is where it is handy. So meanwhile it is building, you can, I'll just show you the previous one that was happening. What it was doing was it was click, if you click here, it will lead you to the another screen and vice versa. Here is an other screen, and like if I click here again and it will lead me. It is basically a loop, a transaction between two screens. One is created in Java, other one is in Kotlin. That won't be a problem. So yeah, it will sync up the changes. Meanwhile, it's saying that was all for the session today, and it is just syncing. And if you have any problems regarding installing the Android Studio or the course link, and it will everything will be provided to you in the link. I'll just write a message and circulate it. And some of you might actually the attendance right now is very low. I think it is just 19 people. So for the people of for those of you who have friends who have not attended the session, we'll share the recording, but please tell them to attend the session first hand because if they have any doubts, I am available to clear it right now. But if you ask on text, it will be a problem, and I'm sorry we cannot repeat the same session once again. You'll have to view the recordings if you have any problem. But if you have any doubts, you can ping me and I'll surely work on that to resolve it. So that is what you need to do for like as such. You can consider this as a homework or something like that. You need to set up your Android Studio and you need to like just work on the first pathway that we had. And why am I telling to set up your Android Studio is because you don't face any error later on. If you have any errors or something like that, you can do it right now itself and it will be resolved right now. No, won't be a problem. So here you can see Gradle build is taking a bit longer time. It has been running for 2 minutes right now. Okay, so any doubts, guys? Like, if you have any doubt about the process completion and how certificate awarding and all. Okay, so I'll take it. No, like you don't have any doubts right now. It's not a problem. You just have like when you're progressing in the course, you'll. It is a self-paced course, so you can finish it even in single day if you know everything for like uh, about Kotlin, etc., etc. And for the simple part, this is how we'll be doing this. And for the next session, we are sure that it will happen on weekend. We can take that on weekdays. It will be on Sunday most probably, and we'll take for the timings like are the timings currently okay, or do we need to change the timings? Like just a survey from you guys. Around 11 a.m. is good. Okay, Anurag. And okay, so we have a doubt by Dhruv Parashar. Like, can you tell about the Kotlin MCQ again? Okay, I'll head back to that screen. Think I should close my studio right now. Yes, I'll close this since it is not no use right now. So this is what a basic example of an application looked like. This was not like the part of the transaction that we had planned for today, but I just wanted to show you what an studio looks from the inside so that it does not feel alienated when you work on it really. For the MCQ part, I'll hit up the part where I answered the MCQ. Okay, the quiz part. For every pathway that you have, the pathway link I'll give it to you in the group. You'll have a very basic quiz kind of thing. Like here right now it is asking me what is the full form ID. If I've studied the pathways, if I've studied the content, I can easily answer to that question. And if I have not, I'll answer it incorrectly, right? So this is simply related to what they are teaching in the pathway in code labs and all, text and all. It is not something alienated. And once you submit it, for example, I'll submit it like empty. And here you'll see it will give me an error. You have scored 0. You need to score at least 5 to pass this. And once you have passed, it will give you an option to collect your badge, and your badge will be visible on your profile. And at the end of the time when you have completed, this is what your profile will look like. A badge for participating, and the badges for different pathways. This is the badge for that pathway that I was just answering the question for. And this is how we'll do it. Like you have to just send me the screenshot at the end, and I'll verify it, and I'll provide you the certificate. Now for the certificate part, it will be a certificate from Google, so I'm sorry, you guys have to earn it. Everyone has to earn that part from themselves. So that's it for the session today. If you guys have any last time I'm asking for the doubts. If you guys have any doubts about in the future sessions or like what is why are we doing this, anything of this matter, like you can ask. How many batches do we have to earn? You have to earn a total of 6 batches for the basic part when you're doing like new to this, new to Kotlin. Course link will be sent in groups. Yes, I'll share the course link with you guys in the group itself so that you can complete the group. And any more doubts? Or the batches part, I'll just confirm you how many batches do we have. Just a second. For basics one, yep. Here we go. Okay, this is prior experience. Yep, you need a 4 plus 2. These are the 6 batches that you need to have in your profile to get a certificate that will certify new to programming track for you guys. That's how we need to do it. And guys, so this is for the that's all for the session today. And please let your friends, etc., know that we are conducting live sessions and it is compulsory, not compulsory, but it will be much better if you people are attending it and you have the real, like, you can ask the doubts in real time and all. So, yeah, that's it for the session, guys. If you have any doubts and a feedback link will be circulated and you can fill it itself. You're welcome, Anurag.